There are a couple methods to obtain 120 volt single-phase power from a 208 volts three-phase panel. Firstly, consider using a center tap transformer. With this method, you install a center tap transformer to convert the 208 volts three-phase power to 120 volts single-phase power. The process involves connecting the primary windings of the transformer to the three phases of the 208 volts panel. Then connect the center tap of the secondary windings to the neutral. Finally, connect the two outer terminals of the secondary windings to two separate 120 volts circuits. Secondly, another approach involves using a buck-boost transformer. In this case, you would install a buck-boost transformer to reduce the 208 volts to 120 volts. Connect the primary windings of the transformer to two phases of the 208 volts panel. Next, connect the neutral wire to the common terminal of the buck-boost transformer. Finally, connect the output terminals of the transformer to the three 120 volts receptacle circuits. Some additional considerations are necessary for safety and compliance. Firstly, ensure that the total load on each circuit does not exceed 20 amps. This prevents overloading the circuits and potential hazards. Secondly, provide proper grounding and bonding for all electrical components. Grounding and bonding are essential for safety, helping to prevent electrical shock and equipment damage. Thirdly, use appropriate conduit, wire, and connectors for the voltage and amperage requirements. Selecting the correct materials is critical to ensure the safety and reliability of the electrical installation. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides tables and guidelines for selecting the proper wiring and conduit based on amperage, voltage, and environmental conditions. For example, you may need to consult NEC Table 310.15 to determine the correct wire size based on the ampacity and the insulation type. Also, ensure that all wiring and connections are performed according to NEC standards. And finally, obtain any necessary permits and inspections from the appropriate authorities. Compliance with local electrical codes and regulations is a must for any electrical work. The information in this guide is intended for informational purposes only and should not be considered a substitute for professional advice. Electrical work can be dangerous, and it is important to take all necessary precautions to ensure safety. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, it is best to consult with a qualified electrician. It is important to consult with a licensed electrician for professional guidance and to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and standards. When installing electrical circuits, it is important to follow all applicable codes and regulations. The NEC, or National Electrical Code, is a set of standards that provide guidelines for safe electrical installations. The NEC covers a wide range of topics, including wiring methods, overcurrent protection, grounding, and bonding. Firstly, wiring methods must comply with NEC standards. The NEC specifies the types of wiring that are permitted for different applications. For example, in residential wiring, non-metallic sheath cable, also known as Romex, is commonly used. However, in commercial or industrial settings, conduit is often required to protect the wiring. Secondly, overcurrent protection is crucial for safety. Overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers and fuses, are designed to protect electrical circuits from overloads and short circuits. The NEC specifies the size and type of overcurrent protection device that is required for each circuit. Thirdly, grounding and bonding are essential for preventing electrical shock. Grounding provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, tripping the overcurrent protection device and energizing the circuit. Bonding ensures that all metal parts of the electrical system are electrically connected, preventing voltage differences that could cause electric shock. Firstly, when working with 208 volt systems, it's important to understand the voltage relationships. In a 208 volts three-phase system, the voltage between any two phases, also known as line-to-line voltage, is 208 volts. The voltage between any phase and the neutral, also known as line-to-neutral voltage, is approximately 120 volts. This is because the 208 volts is derived from the square root of 3, which is approximately 1.732 multiplied by 120 volts. 120 volts multiplied by 1.732 equals roughly 208 volts. Secondly, transformers play a crucial role in converting voltages in electrical systems. A transformer is a device that transfers electrical energy from one circuit to another through electromagnetic induction. It typically consists of two or more coils of wire wound around a common core. The primary winding is connected to the source voltage, while the secondary winding is connected to the load. Thirdly, center tap transformers are commonly used to provide both 120 volts and 240 volts power. A center tap transformer has a secondary winding with a center tap that is connected to the neutral. The voltage between each outer terminal and the center tap is 120 volts, while the voltage between the two outer terminals is 240 volts. This allows for both 120 volts and 240 volts appliances and equipment to be powered from the same transformer. Firstly, buck-boost transformers can be configured to either step up or step down voltage. They are typically used for small voltage corrections, such as boosting a slightly low voltage or bucking a slightly high voltage. The amount of voltage change depends on the turns ratio of the transformer and the connection configuration. Secondly, when selecting a transformer, it's important to consider the voltage and power requirements of the load. The transformer must be able to handle the voltage and current demands of the connected equipment. It's also important to consider the ambient temperature and ventilation of the location where the transformer will be installed. Thirdly, proper wiring and connections are essential for safe and reliable operation. All wiring must be sized appropriately for the current it will carry. Connections must be tight and secure to prevent overheating and voltage drops. The use of proper connectors and terminals is important to ensure reliable connections. Firstly, grounding and bonding are critical safety measures in electrical systems. Grounding provides a low impedance path for fault current to flow back to the source, tripping the overcurrent protection device and energizing the circuit. Bonding ensures that all metal parts of the electrical system are electrically connected, preventing voltage differences that could cause electric shock. Secondly, the NEC specifies the requirements for grounding and bonding in detail. It covers topics such as grounding electrode systems, equipment grounding conductors, and bonding jumpers. Compliance with these requirements is essential for ensuring the safety of the electrical system. Thirdly, regular inspection and maintenance are important for keeping the electrical system in good condition. This includes checking for loose connections, damaged wiring, and corroded components. Overcurrent protection devices should be tested periodically to ensure they are functioning properly. The installation of 120 volt receptacles from a 208 volts three-phase panel requires careful planning and execution. Firstly, consider the load requirements. Before starting the installation, determine the total load that will be connected to the 120 volts receptacles. This will help determine the size and number of circuits needed. Secondly, select the appropriate transformer. Choose a transformer that is properly sized for the load and has the correct voltage ratings. Ensure that the transformer is listed and labeled by a recognized testing laboratory such as Underwriters Laboratories or all. Thirdly, install the transformer according to the manufacturer's instructions. Follow the manufacturer's instructions carefully when installing the transformer. This includes proper mounting, wiring, and grounding. Firstly, wiring the transformer involves connecting the primary and secondary windings to the appropriate circuits. The primary windings should be connected to the 208 volts three-phase panel, while the secondary windings should be connected to the 120 volts receptacle circuits. Secondly, grounding the transformer is essential for safety. The transformer should be grounded according to the NEC. This typically involves connecting the transformer's grounding terminal to the building's grounding electrode system. Thirdly, connecting the 120 volts receptacles requires proper wiring techniques. Use appropriate wire sizes, connectors, and wiring methods. Follow the NEC requirements for receptacle spacing and mounting heights. Firstly, testing the installation is crucial to ensure safety and proper operation. After the installation is complete, test all circuits and receptacles to verify that they are working correctly. Use a voltmeter to measure the voltage at each receptacle. Secondly, inspecting the installation should be done by a qualified electrician. Have a qualified electrician inspect the installation to ensure that it complies with all applicable codes and regulations. This will help identify any potential problems and ensure that the installation is safe and reliable. Thirdly, maintaining the installation will help to prevent problems and extend the life of the electrical system. Regularly inspect the wiring, connections, and receptacles for any signs of damage or wear. Replace any damaged components immediately. In the context of a clean room at an airforce base, adherence to standards is paramount. Clean rooms are controlled environments designed to minimize particulate contamination, and electrical installations must not compromise this objective. Firstly, material selection is critical. Use wiring, conduit, and electrical boxes that are non-shedding and compatible with the clean room environment. Consider using materials with low outgassing properties to minimize the release of volatile organic compounds, or VOCs. Secondly, installation practices must be meticulous. Seal all penetrations through walls and ceilings to prevent air leakage and particulate contamination. Use appropriate sealing compounds that are designed for clean room applications. Thirdly, grounding and bonding are even more important in sensitive environments. Ensure that all electrical equipment is properly grounded and bonded to prevent static discharge, which can attract particles and damage sensitive equipment. Static dissipative or conductive flooring may also be required. Firstly, NEC compliance is non-negotiable. All electrical work must comply with the latest edition of the National Electrical Code, (NEC), as well as any applicable local codes and regulations. Obtain all necessary permits and inspections to ensure compliance. Secondly, Air Force base requirements may exceed standard codes. Be aware that Air Force bases may have additional electrical requirements that go beyond the NEC. Consult with the base's electrical engineering department to determine any specific requirement. Thirdly, documentation is essential. Maintain detailed records of all electrical work, including wiring diagrams, equipment specifications, and test results. This documentation will be useful for future maintenance and troubleshooting. In addition to the NEC, other standards may apply to clean room electrical installations. Firstly, Institute of Environmental Sciences and Technology, or EAST, standards provide guidelines for clean room design and operation. EAST Standard 14644-1 specifies the classification of air cleanliness by particle concentration. Secondly, Federal Standard 209E, although superseded by ISO 14644-1, may still be referenced in some specifications. It defines different classes of clean rooms based on the number of particles of a certain size per cubic foot of air. Thirdly, military standards may also be applicable. Depending on the specific application, military standards such as MIL STD-461 for electromagnetic compatibility may need to be followed. Ensure that all electrical equipment used in the clean room meets these standards. The choice between using a center tap transformer and a buck-boost transformer depends on several factors. Firstly, load requirements play a significant role. Center tap transformers are suitable for applications where both 120 volts and 240 volts power are needed, while buck-boost transformers are typically used for small voltage corrections. Secondly, available space may be a constraint. Buck-boost transformers are generally smaller and lighter than center tap transformers, making them a better choice for applications where space is limited. Thirdly, cost considerations may influence the decision. Buck-boost transformers are typically less expensive than center tap transformers. The selection of wiring methods, conduit, wire, and connectors is crucial for the safety and reliability of the electrical installation. Firstly, conduit provides physical protection for wiring. Conduit can be made of various materials such as metal, PVC, or fiberglass. Metal conduit provides the best protection against physical damage, while PVC conduit is more resistant to corrosion. Secondly, wire must be sized appropriately for the current it will carry. The NEC specifies the minimum wire size for different ampacities. It's important to consider the ambient temperature and the number of current-carrying conductors in a raceway when selecting wire size. Thirdly, connectors must be compatible with the wiring and conduit. Use connectors that are listed and labeled for the intended application. Ensure that all connections are tight and secure to prevent overheating and voltage drops. Firstly, the selection of overcurrent protection devices is critical for safety. Circuit breakers and fuses are used to protect electrical circuits from overloads and short circuits. The NEC specifies the size and type of overcurrent protection device that is required for each circuit. Secondly, circuit breakers are resettable devices that trip when the current exceeds a certain level. They can be manually reset after the fault has been cleared. Fuses are one-time devices that melt and open the circuit when the current exceeds a certain level. Thirdly, ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, are used to protect against electrical shock. GFCIs detect ground faults and quickly de-energize the circuit, preventing serious injury or death. GFCIs are required in areas where there is a high risk of electric shock, such as bathrooms, kitchens, and outdoor locations. Regular testing and maintenance are essential for keeping the electrical system in good condition. Firstly, visual inspection should be performed regularly to check for any signs of damage or wear. Look for loose connections, damaged wiring, and corroded components. Secondly, electrical testing should be performed periodically to verify that the system is functioning properly. This includes measuring voltage, current, and resistance. Thirdly, overcurrent protection devices should be tested to ensure they are tripping properly. Circuit breakers can be tested using a circuit breaker tester, while fuses can be inspected for continuity. Firstly, safety precautions are paramount when working with electricity. Always energize the circuit before working on it. Use appropriate personal protective equipment, such as safety glasses, gloves, and insulated tools. Secondly, lockout/tagout procedures should be followed to prevent accidental energization of the circuit. Lockout/tagout involves placing a lock and tag on the circuit breaker or disconnect switch to indicate that the circuit is being worked on. Thirdly, if you are not comfortable working with electricity, consult with a qualified electrician. Electrical work can be dangerous, and it is important to take all necessary precautions to ensure safety. In summary, deriving 120 volts single-phase power from a 208 volts three-phase panel involves using either a center tap transformer or a buck-boost transformer. Proper planning, execution, and adherence to safety precautions are essential for a safe and reliable installation. It is always recommended to consult with a licensed electrician to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and standards.